É cabo, share life for your knee. É cabo, I am Awo Ifa Jimini Ray.
I am Awo Ifa Togunshe.
And you were tuned into
the best,
the greatest
podcast
on the planet Earth. Let's talk IFA. Ashe, Cabo. Welcome back again, as usual. We love you and we thank you. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. We pray that you and your families are well in these crazy times that we are in. Mm-hmm. We give thanks and praise in the name of Olodumare, in the name of the ancestors. Ashe. So, we're back. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good, man. How about yourself, my brother?
I'm here. You know, I'm great. I'm blessed. You know,
I feel healthy. I feel great. My spirits are high, and I'm ready to move forward. Ready to move forward as usual.
So today's podcast, you don't need a shrine to be African.
Don't need a shrine to be African.
So we're gonna go into this and break this down a bit.
Well, I want to give a shout out to my Muslim brothers and sisters. Shout out to my Christian brothers and sisters. Shout out to all of my brothers and sisters following whatever spiritual path that you're following. In Ifa, we don't discriminate because we know all spiritual platforms were birthed from Ifa or African spirituality. So this is a topic here. You don't need to have a shrine to be African because there's a lot of people out there, especially young people that I come across or that call me or that come up to me and they want to know how to set their ancestor shrine up. A lot of them are afraid because they live with their parents who don't follow any form of African spirituality. They think it's spooky. They think it's voodoo. They think it's root work.
Devil worship.
They think it's all of these things. And so some people are some youth, they're afraid to set up an ancestor shrine in their home. And so this is a good topic because there's other things that you can do if you can't set up an ancestor shrine in your house. And some of the things that you can do is if you're following Ifa as a spiritual home, some of the things you can do to honor your ancestors is wear the clothing of your ancestors. So if you are a Ifa, Orisha, Egungun devotee, it is custom to wear the African or the Yoruba attire, and it's custom to learn the language. It's custom to know how to greet your ancestors, how to greet your fellow Yoruba in the morning, how to greet your fellow Yoruba in the afternoon, how to greet your fellow Yoruba in the evening time. Starting out with those basics of learning the language, learning the greetings, learning how to greet, wearing the attire, the shokoto, the buba, for women, the lapa, for men, the shokoto, the buba, the fila for men, the gele for the woman. Those are ways of honoring your ancestors. It don't have to be it's good to have your shrine because you do have to have a place to commune with those loved ones who've transitioned. You need to have a sacred space to commune with your inner self or your Ori. You need to have a space to commune with your Orisha. You need to have those things. However, wearing the clothes, speaking the language speaks volumes, in many ways. The basic things, greetings. You have to learn these things along with learning the spiritual way of living as well. I shall.
Benny. Yeah, that's kind of what I did and what a lot of people do, especially when you first getting into this and you still a little unsure of things and how people gonna look at you and perceive you and respond to you and how. And then some people, that are early on, they're not even all the way sure on how this journey is gonna work out for them. So they kind of easing their way into it. But like the Baba said, that's a great way to kind of start to show up and represent and honor and venerate, the ancestors is through the clothes. And it's easier now because it's popular now, and it's kind of like if you wear something nice out, you're going to get compliments on your African attire now, as opposed to 20, 30 years ago, where it was a different energy around, like it wasn't cool. It was like kind of weird and corny and people were scared of it. And it's like now it's cool. It's fashionable.
It's African clothes everywhere now.
Yeah, everywhere.
You can find African clothes, attire everywhere now. You can go to the mall and find something.
It's everywhere.
African attire. So
it's so much easier to do now. It's more accepted.
It's more accepted, and people want to follow some form of African spirituality or African culture. So the culture is the foundation of it all. The spirituality is up under the umbrella of the culture. So those things with wearing the clothes, your ancestors walked with you way before, altars were set up, and they continue to walk with you. You are a walking ancestor shrine. But when you put on the clothes, just like when you see a gungun with the colorful cloth, all those particular cloths, like the Ashoke, the Ashofi, the what's some of the other cloths? The Etu cloth. All of those cloths is what the Egungun is the cloth that the Egungun.
The indigo. What's the cloth that they sell in Abeokuta? They're famous for that cloth. Man. I can't remember the name of the cloth, but yeah.
You got the Ashafi. You got all of these different.
I think it's Adire.
Right. All of that cloth is, when you see many Egungun designs, it's the same cloth. So when you wear your colorful attire, you are honoring the ancestors just by wearing African clothes. You honoring your ancestors. When you speak their language, when you feast on the same things that they used to feast on, those traditional foods, you are honoring your ancestors. You are showing gratitude to the ancestors and to the Orishas as well.
Benny.
You're showing gratitude. So a shrine, like I said, you are a walking shrine in itself, if you really look at it.
Yep. Like the Baba had mentioned, like even with the language, like I know with my family and most people, they start with Ashe. It's almost like it's you can slide that in, and it's like it's kind of acceptable. Some people already know what it means, and then other people they might ask you what it means, and they'll even, once you tell them what it means, they'll even say it. I got people, now that are kind of not really in it, but kind of I can tell they're curious.
Right.
And, so Ashe, that's a good word to introduce, of course, and Alafia. That's probably the first two words people learn. But it's the beginning of something, and it says something about who you are. And be fearless and be courageous in this, because let's not get it twisted. Like, even just the thought and in the actions of honoring your ancestors is a revolutionary act. In this country, that's considered a revolutionary act, because what do they want you to do here? They want you to assimilate. They want you to forget your language of your ancestors, forget your your clothing that you wore. Forget your culture and everything else that falls, your drumming, your music, your spiritual systems, your folkways, your mores, your norms, right? They tricked us into giving those things up for what they said, what they told us was something better.
And guess what?
And you see where we are now.
And they took what you gave up because you gave up something that's rich. We gave our riches away. Mm-hmm. When we gave up our culture, when we gave up our language, when we gave up
the land,
when we gave up the farmlands, when we gave up all of the resources, we gave up what was rich to us. We gave up our culture, which is our richness, because from our culture is how we are able to create economy. Our culture is sustains us.
Yeah, say that one more time.
Our culture sustains us. It's from our culture that our economy is birthed. From our culture is how our economy is.
So
birthed.
that's a very profound statement. So I think before we move on, seriously, we need to just kind of dive into that a little bit so people understand, what does that mean and what does that look like? The first thing it means, right, everybody does this Kwanzaa thing every year, and we go through the principles and the cooperative economics, and then nobody do nothing all year, and then we see each other again in January and we do the same thing over again. I was just having this conversation with somebody. So what that looks like within the culture is the women used to run the marketplace. Everybody should pick something and sell it. Something that we already buying from other people. We should create our own economy where we say, okay, let's identify these things that are necessities that we buy on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And let's get together so that you ever notice you've been somewhere at a shop or a flea market or whatever, and everybody's selling the same thing?
Yeah.
So I love flea markets. So I go to this one here. It's right at the border of North Carolina and South Carolina.
I know, yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
So when you go into first of all, I've spoken to them before, you got to tell them what you're selling, because once you sit down with them and you tell them what you want to sell, they going to tell you whether you can sell it. They might say, oh no, we already got 3 people out here already selling that.
Oh, that's good.
So that's
how you got to come with something different.
It's better for the merchants and the owners, because it means you're going to stay longer and you're going to keep coming back because you're making money, because everybody not selling the same. Everybody can't sell shea butter and incense. And we all out here and we expect everybody to eat, So even when you go in the area where they got the food and stuff, they got one person that sell popcorn, one person that sell the nachos, one person that sell the fruit, one person that sell the lemonade. They don't have. So
everybody making money.
Everybody making money because we all selling something different. So, bringing economics through your community, that's one of the first easiest things you can do. I'm the paper guy. Paper towels, toilet paper, paper plates, paper cups, all that plasticware and all that. That's me and my clan and my family over here. That's what we do. So we buy all that.
So that's what they used to do. Our ancestors used to do in ancient times. Each family had a craft. Each family was famous for something. And when it was market days, they came out and everybody made the exchange.
Or as a merchant,
they knew
people buy and sell goods, but we just don't want everybody in the market to be selling the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you create your own market for the things that you already buy, right? But in order to do that, you have to have some level of unity. You have to be able to come together. You have to be able to have conflict resolution.
I share.
Because it's going to be some arguments, stuff is gonna happen, but where we fall short is that we're never able to come back together and keep it together because we not focused on this one mission. We can't let the whole boat sink because we had a little argument or disagreement or fallout, because guess what? Our children and the next 5 generations are depending on this economic engine that we created. So we can't get mad at each other. We don't have the option. And we still think we have this. It's an illusion that we have an option. We don't have an option. Before integration, that was clear. But after integration, we got to, everybody too loosey-goosey. As soon as you get
to relax.
Yeah, as soon as you get upset or you get whatever, So that's one way. Is just the market, but it's doing business with each other. It's coming together to invest our monies to create businesses that the community can eat off of, and you know what I'm saying? Everybody can make money, and you can exchange. If I can exchange with you, my family is famous for making pies, and your family is famous for making the cream. So we can do business, and we can merge too. You know what I'm saying? It's like we all making money, and ain't nobody fighting because they coming with the same thing. They coming with the same product. Yeah. So the economy should come out of your culture. So what's the culture? This clothes that we got on right now. Economy.
These beads.
Yeah. So it's different ways to do it. We can source the cloth and have it made, or we can have it made and then buy it, sell it, or whatever we're gonna do. We're selling. The culture is the economy. The clothes, like Baba just said, the beads. The items that we use as priests with alligator pepper and cola nuts and gin and all of those different shea butter and all the things that we use, we should have we should capitalize on the markets that we dominate. The beauty supply, the nail salon, we're 98% of the consumers. So we should be the ones that are running those. So that's how you benefit and create economics and money through your culture. It's so many. I can go on and 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 on. But that's just some of the things we have to do, and that's a form of ancestor veneration. When you think like that, let me think. Let me buy black. Let me buy for my brothers and sisters and try to.
Those are cultural things that that's what we're supposed to be doing. And when we're not doing those practices, we are out of alignment with ourselves. We are out of alignment with our ancestors, because these are the things our ancestors did.
It's what we did.
So when we're not doing those things, we're out of alignment. And so that's why we're prone to lose focus, or we're prone to fighting each other, or we're prone to doing things and beating each other down and damaging each other because we're out of alignment. We're not practicing the cultural way of life. So ways to honor your ancestors without a shrine. Cultural practices are wearing African clothes and beads. At least learn one Yoruba or African proverb a week. Learn a family recipe or some type of African dish. It don't have to be from Nigeria. It could be, from different parts of Africa. As African Americans, we have all the African, because through transatlantic slave trade, we have just we can go touch many places
anywhere
in Africa. We're like the cosmic children. So we can sell different dishes. We can sell different clothes. We can merge. We can. It's a lot that we can do. So learn a some type of recipe.
It could be your great grandmama recipe from Mississippi.
Alabama, or something.
She remembered that. She got that from her DNA. It all links back.
Practice African hospitality. That's a tradition. Like, how do we greet each other when someone come to our household? How do we accommodate them?
How do we treat each other?
When I come to your house, I bring kola nut, I bring atare, and we sit and before we eat, we take atare and we take kola nut and we pray. We pray for the owner. If I'm coming to visit you and I bring kola nut and atare and we break it, I'm going to pray that your household continues to be wealthy. And to bring the wealth and to bring more children and grandchildren into this household. You come to my house, you pray for my household. Those are customs and traditions. Those are the things that our ancestors did. Accommodation is very big in all African cultures. Accommodation is one of the biggest things because, especially as Yorubas, we are greeters. We greet all day.
Greet
so
and
we,
pray.
We accommodate
and say
in
positive
each other.
things. Now we've gotten into this negative speech, and that's where the music is so important because they know once they get us there, that vibration, our tongues are so powerful that they know that vibration was gonna, bring us down better than they could have ever done it. Because at this point, we're just doing it to ourselves. So we're talking about, you don't need a shrine to be African. In other words, your mindset. You could have 20 shrines in the house, but
I done seen it.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not moving like this, if you're not practicing cooperative economics and trying to buy black or like, you know what I'm saying? If you, depending on how you moving, you could have all the shrines, but it's like you're missing the cultural aspects of really what it means to be African.
Right.
Your like Baba just said, your manners, how you greet, how we treat each other, like that's the culture. You can get some shrines and some pots and come in and do some things and still just be totally oblivious to your culture because you're over religious.
Yeah, you just want to do rituals all day and then say that's not being African, because you everything you do is a ritual from waking up. So
that's the most important one.
You really messing up the vibe when you say I gotta go shake this stone over here or knock these two stones together and call Shango because I want to see lightning strike just to see if it strike. So you can say, oh, I hit the stones and then I heard some roaring in the sky. I did
that.
Yeah, I did that. So I'm more powerful than a Babalawo or something like that. You hear these things, but that's not being African. That's not being African.
Humility.
Those things, if you got the ability to do those are the things you don't even display or talk about. Those are the things you might practice on your own, but you don't even show you got that. But what you do show is your cultural way of your character within the culture. How do you treat your fellow brother? How do you treat your fellow sister? How do you treat the mothers? How do you treat the fathers? How do you treat the elders? How do you communicate? How do you socialize? So study your lineage. If your lineage had a certain clan marking, know what those is about and the history behind those particular markings. The language, as we said before, and the origins of your people. These are the things you need to study. You don't need the shrine to tell you that. These are the things that is history made already. You just have to do the due diligence and find out where everything originated, about your people, about your nation. These are cultural practices. We got to get into the cultural practices. We got to lead. We have to wake up in the morning and do something cultural.
In other words,
that a habit.
This is a communal culture. You're not supposed to just get initiated to IFA and have 20,000 Orisha in the house, but you don't talk to nobody.
You don't want to talk to nobody.
You don't do nothing in the community. You're not part of a community. We don't do things in mind as that brotherhood and sisterhood. And it's just like we're trying so hard to try to get back to a place where our ancestors were already before integration. And it's like we can't get back there to save our life because we got the illusion of inclusion. Like we don't need to, but we really do need each other, because nobody's gonna save us but us.
Sure.
Nobody's gonna teach our babies what they need to know
but us.
Nobody's going to do any of these things to give our children some type of cultural identity like other Europeans in this country or Asians or even Latinos or whatever. They all have the historical identity of their family. They can trace their family back. They know that they come from, Wales or Belgium or whatever, and the name of the family and the land is still there. Like they can go all the way back, but most of us, there's a stopping point there for most of us where we can concrete, we can get close, and then we can try to bridge that gap. But, that's the best that we can do. So these are things that, it doesn't take a shrine to do, patience, humility, compassion, drop the ego, all of those things that we really need to work on doing that don't get enough attention. Everything is on the spiritual part of it.
And so when you do those cultural things and you get in the habit of doing those cultural things that we just talked about, when you do go to a shrine, and that shrine is a border between the physical and spiritual realm.
And it's a magnifier.
It's a magnifier. So when you do go to that shrine, it's gonna give you a lot of wisdom, and a lot of things that you don't know are gonna start to be uncovered.
Yeah.
It's gonna start to be revealed either through your dreams or through visions or through certain possessions, or things are gonna start being revealed, and then you're gonna know more. And you put those things into a cultural practice and understanding, and you pass that down to the children and your family. The shrine is a way of communication. You're in the physical realm, but the ancestors are in the spiritual realm, but there's a way to still communicate. You can't communicate with them physically anymore, but you can communicate with them spiritually. And they will tell you things that they probably didn't pass on to you when they was in the physical realm.
Yes, they will.
So now they in the spiritual realm, and they like, well, I'm sorry I didn't give this to you when I was on the physical plane, but I'm going to come in your dreams tonight, and I'm going to show you how to do this. And I'm going to pass this on to you, because I didn't get to pass it on to you when I was in the physical. So I'm going to do it from this on this level now.
And and the other thing is don't doubt yourself, because the very fact that you're having certain thoughts and you're being led a certain way down a certain path, believe it. believe in it, have confidence in it that this is the right thing because there's a higher power that's guiding you. It's always at least one person in the family that as either predestined or destined or the ancestors choose to kind of reincarnate through to reestablish the African tradition
yes.
in the family. It's usually just maybe like one. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might get more than one, but a lot of times when we talk to people like in the family,
right,
it's usually that one. And then there's some people that are fearful or afraid or intimidated to put up a shrine or altar for different reasons. Maybe the living situation, like we mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. You might live with your parents, or maybe elders might be around that don't understand it. Or maybe sometimes, and we've seen this a lot, even might be your spouse. It might be your husband or your wife that got a problem with the altar, with the shrine. That's a whole different conversation. Usually it's not the kids. The kids want to go.
Right.
The kids usually take to it. It's the adults usually that you have an issue with.
Yeah, because they have a different belief and understanding of how things should go, and that's all right. But one of the things is you got to be patient with your parents too. And you do have to respect their spaces. So if that goes for those that are out there and you living with your parents, but you want to set up an ancestor altar in the house, but your mother and your father is not going to allow you. Mm-hmm. So don't rebel in your mother and father's house if they don't want you to set it up. Mm-hmm. Don't set it up because you're living there with them. Right. But other things you can do in nature to honor your ancestors is, you can sit up under a tree and speak your intentions to your ancestors, or you can put offerings in front of a tree in the park. Mm-hmm. Or somewhere at a park, or somewhere in nature. You can take offerings and a candle to a big tree, and you can call on your ancestors. You could put it on the earth itself, and honor your ancestors in that way. Touch the ground and greet the earth.
It's so many different ways.
Those are ways you can do it. Leave an offering out the doors. Like when you eat at night, you cook a dinner, take a small plate and put some of the food that you're eating on that plate, and that's for the ancestors. And, when you're eating and you have that little plate of food there, the ancestors are there eating with you. And so after you finish eating, you take that little plate and you can set it outside, for your ancestors. Those are ways of doing it. Keep a plant in your room or in your household as a symbol of life and ancestors. Those are things that you can do.
You can use that plant. That plant can be your shrine or your altar.
Right.
You can go outside barefoot and just sit and just put your feet in the ground and just sit and meditate and ground yourself for a minute and be mindful of your ancestors. And then you can just speak. You can just, give thanks, and then you can say prayers and speak to them about what's going on and what you need help with the kids and, your career, your marriage, or the lack of one, or the kids, or you want kids, or you need help with the kid, like anything. And see, here's the key to this, right? This is the secret sauce to all of this, because you got to have this fundamental understanding to make all this work, to understand how this works. And you got to be a little bold with this to understand this. The power of your mind, of your ori, is what makes all of this work. The mind is so powerful. I listen to Sadhguru or not. And you literally create your own reality through your thoughts, and how you use this thing called our consciousness, our mind, our ori. It's our greatest asset, but it's also our worst weapon against ourselves if we use it against ourselves. So what am I saying? You don't need a shrine to be African. All the things that we just said to do, if you put it in your mind to do those things and you believe that's where faith comes in, because faith means that you set your intentions out with your prayers, but you don't have any negative thoughts or any thoughts of it not working or none of that.
Sure.
That's part of the key to it working, because it's the power of the mind. Some people will go set an intention or say prayers, and then as soon as they done, they're going back and forth with themselves in their own mind because they're doubting. They got the fear and the doubt and the this and the that.
They start questioning their own prayer because they're not satisfied within themselves. And so they go and they say, wow, wait a minute, I forgot to add this to the prayer. Or, oh man, when I did my IJ prayer, I forgot to ask IJ for this. I need to go back. And it's like, they start doubting their prayer. They start doubting themselves. So you're doubting yourself when you do that. I like watching Saguru because he just breaks it down so simple.
Bro, it's so simple, powerful. And it'll go over your
powerful.
head.
Yeah, if you don't read, if you don't listen, it'll go over your head. But
it's the truth.
Some of these things are just basic, but it's hard and it's complex because people are so used to living in this following the rules and laws of this machine. You're stuck in this machine, and it's the Matrix, as they say.
It is
stuck in you following this machine, and your only safe haven is your Ori.
It's either your safe haven or your hell.
But if you are following the machine, you are putting all your Ori power into following this machine, and so you don't have the consciousness to think for yourself. You don't have the awareness to allow this to work for you and not for that machine. One of the things I remember growing up, my yaya, she didn't do it all the time, but I know she might have made my sister do it. I never seen my sister really do it too much, but I know a few times she told me to write letters to my ancestors. And I was like, how don't y'all write a letter to my ancestors? Write a letter to your ancestors.
That's real.
I remember writing a letter to my ancestors, and then my yaya said, let me see it before you put it on there. So I used to have all of these toys and things that I wanted. And so she was like, okay, that's cool, but write it again and think a little deeper and what you want to ask your ancestors. So those are other ways you
exercise
can of honoring your ancestors without a shrine is write a letter to your ancestors and let your ancestors know what you ask of them and what you're going to also give back to them
in return, once they grant your. And I know some people, like I knew one of my homegirls I grew up with, she used to do this in like middle school, high school, when she had like something heavy was on her. She would write a letter.
Yeah.
But it was just basically like to the universe. It wasn't to anybody.
Right.
She would just write the letter to get the stuff off of her chest.
Right.
And then she would just, after she wrote it, she would basically just throw the letter away. Because that was her way of, relating to the universe, to the ancestors. But she knew that that was her ritual. You know what I'm saying? Some people set it on fire when they done. Some people put it under a candle and light the candle. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever your Ori tell you to do with it. Once you write it, it really doesn't matter what you do with it afterwards, right? It's like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it works. And
because you're kind of putting it into action. You're thinking
giving
about
it to
it.
them.
and you process it, and then
get it off your chest.
It has to go somewhere. It has to
release.
It has to release. So that writing it down is a form of release and getting it out. So some people do ancestral journaling, like I was saying, write a letter to your ancestors. Write the family history and story of the families of great-great-grandfather. He was a good pool player, or he was a good dice roller, or he was good at chess, or grandma was good at this, that, and the other. And you tell those stories and you remember those stories. Those are ways of honoring your ancestors.
Without a shrine.
Keep a gratitude list for blessings from your lineage. And you pass those down to your children. Those are things you can pass down so that they know what to say to the ancestors. So ancestral journaling is a good practice. Practice those things in real time and see what comes back to you. See what happens.
Study the history of your ancestors, know their names, try to learn about their journeys and their stories as much as you can. Try to, be in, know. Somebody has to know the family history. It's important to know because that's literally who you are, where you came from. That is the history that birthed you.
And it builds your pride. You got a lot of look at the Chinese and the Japanese, and they have pride in their culture. When they're doing their cultural things, and they have such beauty in doing it, it gives them pride to be who they are. We have to have pride again. When we say our pledge, we have to say that with pride. We can't say Niashe Kanki Fagbadashe Mikole that pledge and then we don't believe in it. We have to believe it. We have to be proud of who we are and where we come from. It's important, for African people, especially where we at today. We about to go into 2026. If you don't have no type of identity and you don't know your ancestors come from the continent of Africa, if you don't know that by now, 2026 is getting worse out here. It's getting bad out here. If you're not trying to strive to get some large amounts of land, see, that's real revolution. Revolution, you can't be a broke revolutionary. Part of our culture is market. Got to have a market.
Prosperity.
Every African man, every African woman should have a market. That's our culture. You have a market or something. Whether you're selling clothes, or you selling beer, or you selling wine, or you selling toothpicks or something, you got to have some kind of market. Every African family should have a market. Every African family should be set up as a business.
It's a business.
Not this fairy tale where, we got the big white house and the picket fence, and we're a black couple, and we have 2-3 kids, and we are living the American dream. Yeah. We are living the life, and we're traveling and taking pictures. You're not. And you're of African descent, and you don't have a market. You should have a market. I don't care how much billions of dollars you make. A black doctor should have a market. It's almost like the market is a shrine, kind of like you honor that. Everybody if there's an African family, if there's any left, should have a market.
Yeah, the market is you. Whatever you do, whatever you are, whatever you create, whatever you produce, whatever you buy and sell, whatever you trade, that is part of the energy and the forces and the Orisha, that are here that govern those things. Let's participate. Let's have the full experience. You can't live a normal, full life here on this earth and try to disregard certain things, because even if you do, you're going to end up needing to ask somebody else for it. And as a grown man or as a grown woman, a grown person, you know, everybody has to kind of get up and get out and get it and try to do something. You can't just depend on, you know, people for everything, because that's not African. Like, let's have some dignity and some integrity and some pride, and have something of our own so that we can do what we need to do, and also help others that might be in need. You know, you can't live in this world without owo. That's part of our culture. You know, without money or wealth or some type of business. All of that is part of our culture.
Right. And it's okay to have a debt as long as you know how to, you have the
good
capability.
Debt and you have bad debt.
Right. It's part of wealth is having some form of income. For a man, having a wife. For a man, having children. For a man, having a household. For a man, having the necessary resources to have food, clothing, and shelter. A man that says, a man, you're not an African man if you do not have an income, if you don't have any children, if you don't have a house or some land, if you don't have a market, if you just think it, you know, being an African man is walking barefooted with no shirt on all day and playing the drum and playing the bell or a shekere, that's not an African man. You have to show that you're capable of taking care of a family. You have to show that you're capable of being a leader in your community.
You don't have to have a shrine to be African. It's here. Okay? It's not in the shrine. It's here, and it's here, and it's in you. And how you moving, how you living your life, you know, how you thinking, how you just move in general. If you can't put up an altar or a shrine, or you're not ready to do it yet for different reasons, you are the altar or the shrine. You could, like the Baba said, you could go outside with some water and pour libation and do your meditation and your prayer. That's the shrine.
Shrines is everywhere.
The shrine is here. The physical representation is one thing, but this is more important. So that's really what this podcast was all about. We pray that you got something positive from it. We pray for longevity in all Ire. May we never have to bury any of our children. May our children outlive us. May we all live long lives and good health. I am Awo Ifa Jiminire.
I am Awo Ifa Togunshe.
And you are tuned into
the best,
the greatest
podcast
on the planet Earth. Let's talk IFA.
Ashe Odabo.
Ashe why. Odabo. Ireo.
Lopo lopo.